Hello, everyone. My name is Ernest, co-founder of the Profit Room. We are a stock market trading and education company where we help people learn how to trade and invest in the multiple markets so they can be able to gain financial freedom and be able to pass it on for generational wealth. So today we're interviewing one of our students, and one of the great things behind what we like to showcase some of our students, because you may find yourself in them, is very, very important because we all are different. We all have very diverse backgrounds, right? We all are busy people in life. And sometimes we think about learning how to trade and invest if it's possible for me to do it. So we'd like to introduce you to Tricy. So, Tricy, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am hitting on 40 this year. It's a
Okay,
big
okay.
milestone for me. But I work in healthcare. I have three children, a husband. I work a whole lot. I'm very, very busy. So I'm hoping that resonates with somebody who's listening, that it is possible to learn to trade and learn about the stock market when you have 10, 20 things going on at the same time. Um, so yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Got you. So you live a full life,
Yeah,
basically a full life.
definitely, definitely.
So even though you have this full life going on, but before we start going into your education, what was that first time, or if you can remember, what made you want to learn about like the stock market, futures market, just the markets in general? What was that initial trigger?
Well, I've always invested passively,
Mhm.
and so I've had like mutual funds, etc. But in I think 2017, I opened up a Robinhood account. So what I would do is I would just buy stock low, sell them high. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that the price appreciated, and I made some money, and that was that. Um, and so I think it wasn't until 2020, when the pandemic hit, my nephew called and he said, "Look, I need you to buy 100 shares of it wasn't Play, it was Party City,
Mhm.
because it was like $4 or something. It was really low because everything had crashed or whatever. And honestly, I wasn't even paying attention to my Robinhood account. I just didn't want to look at it because I know everything had crashed. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anything about a stop loss or who. I didn't know, so I just let it sit there. But he told me buy 100 shares. I was like, okay, I will. He's like, sell it in 2 weeks. Okay, fine. So I bought 100 shares, and 2 weeks later, I sold it, and I made like a $400 profit. And I was like, oh, what's this? So I started doing some research. I looked on YouTube trying to figure out some things. I had a couple of Facebook friends who always talked about the stock market, and they talked about trading here and there. So I reached out to them, and I actually signed up for an investment class prior to finding you all on YouTube. So I signed up for the investment course, and I think I probably found you all maybe a week or two later. So when I found you all, I signed up for the options course. I had no idea what options were because I had been slick swing trading, not really knowing about swing trading, but hey.
Yeah.
But doing my research on YouTube, I kept coming up on stock options. And I'm like, what is that? And so I watched a bunch of videos about it, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And so I signed up for the options course. So I was in that investment class, and then I signed up for you all's options course. Now I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't take that options course as seriously as I should have the first time I took it, because I was, I wanted, and I'll talk about this later about how trading really shows you who you are. And
Hmm.
so I wanted like to just hurry up and learn it. I wish I can just put the videos under my head and wake up and I know everything. But that's not how it works, right?
Overnight
So
success.
right, that's not how it works. But I signed up for the options course and I did okay in that. But then you all came out with a group course. And I decided to sign up for that, although I knew it would be some of the same information, but I felt like I needed people who were dealing with the same thing I was dealing with, who wanted to trade like I wanted to trade, and who I can talk to. You know, when you're in the stock market and you're investing and you're around people who don't do it, and you get so excited about it, you want to talk about it all the time. Hey, did you see Apple? Did you see Tesla? You know, and they're like, what? Who cares? You know.
Yeah.
So I felt like I needed a group of people who I can communicate with about stocks and trading, etc. So that's why I decided to go ahead and sign up for the group um, session. And I'm glad I did that, because I didn't even know anything about like the futures market, because I met people in the group that were in the futures course, and I'm like, what's futures, you know? And I started looking that up. Of course, we've all heard of Forex. I've heard of that years ago. A lot of people were saying it's a scam, stay away. So I never looked into it, but I didn't know what the futures market was at the time. So that was kind of my journey. It started really in 2020, but I didn't really get serious about it until that group class, and that was in September of 2020.
So you had all this exposure and you was basically playing the game, right? Playing the game until you got amongst like-minded people that started elevating your mind to the various aspects of the market. And that's very common with most people, but I'm glad that you was able to fall into our lap, because a lot of people will get into that situation but be in like a group of people that could be a little bit reckless, you know, doing a lot of reckless things. At least you fell into a group of people that were actually educated. So let me ask you this question. When you started to take, what made you start to really take it serious? What made you, what was that pinnacle like moment that say, you know what, I'm gonna take this? Because you already seen some form of success when you saw that $400 that woke you up. But what took you to that next level where, you know what, I could really see myself doing something great, and like, you know what, I gotta really focus and study and do what I have to do?
Well, I would say it was probably the success of your other students.
Mhm.
A few of the students who experienced, you know, making six figures a year just from trading. And I'm like, you know, hey, I can really dig into this and, you know, really make some serious money. Um, Even if I didn't want to replace my job, it would be something that I can use for additional income, you know, especially with the state of the economy now, who everybody needs like more than one source of income. But I think that's what it was. And then not only that, I'd experienced some success with the options trading once I finished the course. You know, it was a little bit rocky initially, but then I started having like really, really good days where I would make $1,000. I
Mm.
would, you know, 2,000. I think my biggest day with the options trading was like 4,300.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay, I need to put my head on straight, because I need to look into this seriously. And so, you know, in February of last year, you know, the market kind of crashed or corrected itself.
Mm.
And, you know, I was not as experienced of a trader. So my portfolio was down. I got a little bit discouraged. I felt like my trading had become a little bit funky. You know, initially I was doing really well. Then in
Mm.
that environment, I was like, oh, I kind of like a deer in headlights kind of thing. So I went back to my notes. I stopped trading. I
Mm.
went back to my notes for about a month or so. And then I slowly started getting back into options trading. But while I was getting back into options trading, I started, you know, you all post on Facebook and on YouTube. I started seeing, you know, looking at the videos, the futures video, the post about, you know, making 3,000 in 2 minutes. And I'm like, that fits my personality. I like to get my money and get out, you know? So So I've been thinking about joining the mastermind program, and I talked to Roby, and I talked to a couple of more students who are part of the mastermind program, and I contemplated it for at least 3 months for sure, because I felt like, I did okay in options, but for some reason I felt like it didn't exactly fit my trading personality. I guess you could say.
The edge. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to learn more. And I'm the type of person, when I do something, I do it 1,000%. I'm like, I'm going in. And so I was like, I want to learn all the markets. I want to learn how to trade everything, not just options, not just stocks. I want to learn everything. And then once I learn everything, I want to be able to make a decision as to, do I want to trade just one market or do I want to do everything, So that really just sparked my interest in it, seeing the success of the other students, and then seeing you post those gains every day, and I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it too. I believe in myself, I'm capable. So I decided in July to really, really buckle down and take the mastermind course.
Good. Yeah, and that's one thing. I like your thought process, because like when people come to us to learn, it's like we're looking for that ideal client, student mentor relationship. One of the most powerful things you said, even during the journey, that you end up taking a month off to just reevaluate, because that's very mature to do as a trader, which most people won't do. Like I always tell people, trading isn't going anywhere, right? Even now, trading is not going anywhere. So even if you have to fall back for a little bit and just reevaluate, it's not that you lost skills or something isn't working 1,000%. You just have to adjust for that market, right? And it's also still a part of growth,
Yes,
right? It's
absolutely.
also still a part of growth. Like when we trade, that's why one of the hardest things, like when you see and you're in the rooms and I see all of that, the hardest thing to do is trade every single day. It's hard to trade every single day because we trade in probabilities, right? Every trade is not going to be that home run trade. That's why throughout the process, we always talk about boom, you get in, you get out, you get in, you maximize those entries, right? So you can basically capitalize and do what you have to do. So I really like that part that you said. Then also, you realize if other people can do it, you can do it too.
Right.
Which is very, 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 very important, because a lot of people in the beginning think it's so unrealistic to
Right.
make those
I see the
returns.
comment.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's like, it's no way in the world that you can make $1,000 in like 3 minutes. That's not. Can you let them know?
You can. I am a witness. Okay, it's very possible.
Hmm.
You have to
And
apply
that's,
yourself
you
though.
got to apply yourself, and that's the whole thing behind learning this type of skill. It just takes time,
Yes.
right? Because you're only battling yourself at the end of the day. So let me ask you this: with everything that's going on in work and things of that nature and busy schedule, what did you feel was your most difficult part throughout your journey? Was it the studying? Was it what was the most difficult part? If there was anything difficult about putting everything together, and what did you enjoy the most?
Well, the studying is fine. I am a nerd by nature.
Good.
So
Okay. That's great.
studying is nothing to me. Like,
Hmm.
because my career in healthcare, I have to keep up with CEs. I have to read boring scientific journals and answer
Hmm.
questions and take tests all the time. So the studying part was not difficult for me. Um, my issue is my mindset and the
Hmm.
psychology of it all. I tend to get in my own way
Correct.
sometimes, and I will say that I know a lot of traders struggle with this. You can have all of the skills, you can know what you're doing, you can know the whole book by heart, but we're human, and
Right.
we get emotional. If you're having a bad day, just don't trade, because a lot of my losses come from days when I should not have been trading at
Mm-hmm.
all. And another thing was being a little bit greedy. Being greedy will get you got. Like, so it will get you got. Like,
What you
seriously,
got?
it will get you got. I don't know if that's something we say in the South, but that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, and it has gotten me in trouble. Over trading. You've made money. Ooh, I want more. Ooh, I want more. Instead
Yeah.
of being grateful that,
Yeah.
hey, I made this $200 in an hour or so, I would not have made this otherwise. I
Yeah.
can't get $200 in an hour at work. So,
Correct.
and I
Mm-hmm.
have a good job. No, I can't do it. Not at
Correct.
work. So instead of being grateful and saying, hey, I'm going to accept this $200 and I'm done for the day, you go back in, you end up down $500.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the biggest hurdle for me. And I'm going to be honest, I feel like that I am just now, like recently, maybe in the last month or so, getting a grasp on myself and on this
Mm-hmm.
here, you know. Um, but as far as the course is concerned, I do enjoy being able to experience the trading rooms, because I have Discord app. I'm in some trading rooms, okay, and people do not show their PNL.
Mm-hmm.
There are some, traders out there. They'll call out stuff, or say things. Oh, take this contract. But I've never seen a P&L. How much money are you making? Where's your chart? Why did you enter this trade? So that's one thing that I love about the profit room, the fact that you all show, wins and losses, although y'all barely lose. I'm putting that
Mm-hmm.
out to y'all. They barely lose, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still losing,
Precision.
but they barely lose. I
Yeah.
mean, they're amazing. And so that's probably the best thing about the course, is being able to sit in those rooms and actually see you all make those trades and give those levels out, and because nobody else does that. I have never seen anybody trade like that. And I'm like, I want to be like that when I grow up. I'm a baby right now in my trading career. But when I grow up, I'm gonna be as precise and win 99.9% of my trades. But that was
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing. The studying part it wasn't that hard, because I'm still studying. I have a
Yeah.
big notebook full of notes that I've taken from the videos. And when I get a little confused or I don't remember something, I always go back and I set aside 30 minutes every day to study just trading. Whether it's the notes, whether I'm looking at a chart, I'm back testing or analyzing a losing trade. Like, why did I get in that trade? So I try to make it a part of my life. you know,
Mm-hmm.
this is something that is going to be a part of my life. Once you learn this skill, it's there. So I try to make it as part of my life as possible. So, and I trade every day. And some days I paper trade, and some days, because I have to fall back some.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
when I start losing and my mind isn't right, not thinking straight, I have to fall back. And so either when I fall back, I go back and I study, I read, I
Mm-hmm.
paper trade, I study charts, etc. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much my favorite part, is the rooms.
Yeah. And the purpose of those rooms is to help you guys build confidence. And it also helps Latoya and I stay sharp, right? Because that's what we always saying. There's a lot of people that can teach and they can show you, but you want to see it live in action, right? And it's just like any other skill set. The more that you can stay sharp, the better you are to adjust to every market. So that's why you see sometimes in the rooms, we know it's choppy or the ranges are wide or things could be very gappy. And that's for you guys and all the students to realize, okay, it's not just me.
Right.
Today is funky. Right. So if I was by myself in the future, I realize it's okay not to trade this. It's too crazy. Right. And that's where it's like, okay, because like you said, trading, the psychology part is that you have all this knowledge, you have all this information, but when you come to the platform, is you versus the market. Right. So you have to depend on your good judgment. And that's where a lot of the risk management comes in. And it also comes in like, what's my weekly goal amount, with money, what's my daily goal, and things of that nature. And as time goes by, it's going to become easier and easier and easier. But our goal is for you to just constantly build that confidence, right? The confidence, 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 because then it's like, okay, it's second nature. It's like definitely like second nature with that. Another question, the fact, how was your studying? Because we get people that have busy lives, like you said, you're working and things of that nature. Do you find that the content that we provide is understandable for somebody that has, I know you're a nerd, right? And you focus a lot. We get a lot of you people that just like that are constantly into the books, and I support because I'm a nerd too. But do you think that the average person with a busy schedule, 9 to 5, family, things of that nature, can receive the same results like everyone else?
I believe so. I believe that it depends on your level of dedication. How bad do you want it? I find that I just recently, like I said, I just started doing really well. With my futures trading, like I had to step back and go back and study. I studied every note that I had. I stayed up one night because I work overnight. So on my week off, I'm up. So my sleep schedule is all messed up right now. So one of the nights that I stayed up all night at home, and I literally went through probably like 90 days of the ES. And I studied it, and I just try to figure out how does this move, what's really going on with this ticker, when is it most volatile, what time of day. So I was documenting all that, writing all that down.
Good.
Trying to figure out what would be a good strategy for me to trade this at different times of night or in the evenings during the day. So I think that you really have to want it. When I first started it, I didn't realize what it can really do, trading, what it can really do, not for my family, not just for me, my extended family, to be able to be in a position to teach them how to do it, to help them financially, to become financially free. This can get me out of debt. I have a lot of debt. Being in healthcare, I can, I can get rid of my debt, and I can use that money to reinvest or invest in some real estate and go on vacations more. And I realized that how much it can do for me. And that affected the way that I study. I approach trading now as if, and people say, approach it like a business. Okay, I understand that part. I approach it as if I'm in school. Like, this is my education. Just like my medical degree, I approach it in the same way. I study every single day. I'm always in the charts. I'm always, doing something. I feel like when you want something bad, you will find the time. I don't care how busy you are, you will find the time. And you can watch a movie on Netflix in 2 hours. You could have, paper traded or, gone over your options video or something like that. So I feel like anybody can do it, but you have to have the right mindset. It has to do more. It's more than skill.
Correct.
You have to have the right mindset. You have to be ready to dive in and to, really get your head dirty and get into those lessons and, go over it again and again, back test, chart, whatever. You have to be dedicated. Once you figure out, once people figure out what it can really do for them and they take it seriously, I mean, anybody can do it.
And that's the key point. You know what I mean? Because you're a student first. Like I always tell people, you're going to sacrifice. My father used to tell me, sacrifice the money for the education because it's going to come. I remember, just like what you're saying, when I was trading futures, all I traded was oil. That's it. Oil, and I traded copper. When oil dropped to like $12 a barrel, like what, maybe a couple years ago, they raised the margin requirements to like 30 grand. So I'm like, I'm not trading oil. That's too expensive. I'm not trading that for no contract. And everybody trades ES and things like that. So I was like, I'm gonna be different. I said, I'm gonna trade crazy NASDAQ. Ooh. But like you said, it took me 3 months to really figure out NASDAQ. Right. It took me 3 months. And I'm posting videos making $100, 150, 200, because I didn't really know. I'm learning. It took me 3 months before I could thoroughly, even though I knew the technicals, but like you said, I had to become a student. After 3 months, it's like, all right, I understand it. Boom, 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 boom. It's crazy, it's wild, but you got to be precise and you got to be on point when you're trading something like that. But that's the concept. Like, I'm glad you say that, because when we get people that want to learn and say, hey, it's not going to happen in 2 weeks. It's not going to happen in 3 weeks, right? It's a development side where you're training your brain, also, training yourself. You know what I mean? Because like you said, you have that knowledge and education, but you also still have to train yourself to be able to react and do certain things that you don't normally do. Right. On a regular basis, which is very, very powerful. And like you said something, I remember my trading coach told me something years ago. When you master this or get it, you can use the market as your piggy bank whenever you need it. Like you said, like if you're paying off debt, hey, I need an extra $1,000 a week. And that's where we had a little conversation offline. We'll talk some more too. It's just like, hey, this is what I'm looking for extra a week that I need to pull out. Boom, because I'm hitting this bill hard, or I'm taking care of this. And you can set up a plan in order to do that. In order to do that, boom, 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 consistently, when the average person can't do that. Right. They can't do that. And even though the program is simplified for you to gain knowledge, to the world that's watching, trading is still not easy, right? It's not easy. You can learn it and we make it simplified, but it's so powerful when, like Tricy could tell you, she can go in the market and pull out money. Like sometimes I don't even really, like, you can go in the market with a simple combination of steps to go in and pull it right back out within sometimes an hour, a day, or a week, and consistently do that in and out. Because that's one thing psychologically that you'll find out too. You don't realize how powerful that is. Like in some cases, not saying you don't, but as you go, it's like, that's very powerful. Yeah. And you hear people say, like, tag, I'm watching the people in the room making 2,600, like, it's almost desensitizing sometimes. That's why I have like sticky notes everywhere that say, take the money, $200-300, be grateful, things like that. Because when you're around people that's doing these numbers, right, you forget like what's normalized in the world. You forget what's normalized in income.
Exactly.
So that's what you got to remind yourself. Yeah.
10 seconds. You know,
You're like, what?
crazy.
So, but that's what something that a lot of people like will battle with, as they continue to grow. So, I mean, we thank you so much for a lot of information that you've given us. So, one more question. What do you see yourself? Like, no, first of all, tell them all the markets that you trade first. Tell them what you trade. And
Okay.
what's one of your best markets that you like to trade?
Okay. Well, I'm back into options. I had
Okay.
stopped for a while, while I was studying, doing my mastermind course. So I started back. I trade futures. I'm actually in a combine for that, and I have my real account, my personal account.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trading forex,
Mm-hmm.
which I am starting to love.
Okay.
I didn't think I would.
Uh-huh.
And then sometimes I still trade, like, regular stock equities,
Mm-hmm.
trade the shares depending on how much it costs or whatever. But I will say that I am doing the best with futures. And
Boom.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on,
See,
man, in
Toya?
out.
See,
Do you hear
Toya?
me?
Told you, Toya. But go ahead.
I'm sorry, Toya. I love you, girl. But look, I felt like the futures market fit my personality.
Correct.
Um, and then after going back and just really studying the chart, figuring out how the ES moved, I mean, it's just an amazing market. I feel like the technicals, and I'll tell you about options and why I've kind of backed off of options, although I still play them. But
Mm-hmm.
I like futures, forex, and trading the shares because I feel like it's just straight technicals. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to deal with theta, gamma, and all the rest of that
Oh,
crew.
yeah, all that other stuff.
IG,
Yeah.
it
Mm-hmm.
with options, options is fine, it's great. A lot of people trade it, and I get why. Um, but like I said, you have to find your own way, and you have
Correct.
to find out which market is going to work best for you, for your lifestyle, for your schedule, for your personality. And I will put options at the bottom right now.
Yeah.
Future would be my number one right now. Um, Forex is creeping up.
Got
Um,
you. Got you.
Number two, because I know it's so direct. And what I like about Forex, before I get into futures, one thing I like about Forex is you can set your own risk. Although you can set your own risk with everything else, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, if if I get a mini lot, if I do a mini lot, I know, okay, for each pip a pip is $1. I know that. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
I set that myself, based on my account size. And I like it because it's just straight levels,
Got
candlestick
you.
patterns, chart patterns, whatever. That's all it is.
That's
If
all
you
it
know
is.
how to do that, you don't have to worry about decay. You don't have,
Decay under, yeah,
ooh,
Delta, none of
like, oh
that.
my God, it's a Friday ODT. I'm like, I'm losing my money. The chart's moving, but my
Yeah,
contract isn't moving. What am I
that
gonna
thing
do?
ain't going nowhere.
Man,
Yeah.
I know that if this ticker or whatever goes up this amount, I'm gonna make this much. If it
Yeah,
if I
correct.
if it goes down to this amount, I'm gonna lose this much as far as my stop loss is concerned. I
Correct.
know definitely when I'm that type of person that I need to know. I need to know
Yeah.
exactly how much I'm risking, exactly how much I'm going to make. And I feel like the futures and forex market does that for me. I can
Hmm.
it's strictly levels, and they obey the levels to a T. When I tell you, that was, man, it was like I was up one night studying. I'm looking at charts, and I was looking at the ES. That was the night I was looking at the ES, and I'm like, man, it hit that level, then boom, it hit that level. And, it's like
Yeah.
perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. And so that's one thing I love about the futures and forex markets. I know what I'm going to get when I enter the
Correct.
trade, exactly how much I'm going to lose. With options, it's a little bit different because you have so many outside factors. It's not just technical.
Yeah.
You have to deal with IV and, you know, the length of the contract, you know, if it's closer, if
Yeah.
it's
Weeklies,
just like
monthlies. Yeah.
yeah, you have to deal with. And I'm a direct person, and I'm very straightforward, and so I like straightforward trading. And
Correct.
although I still trade options, I it's my least favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right
And, but
now.
the thing is, you know how to do it, right?
Yeah, if I need to do it, and you know,
Mhm.
I can show somebody how to do it. I'm trying to teach my husband how to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's valuable, very much so. You know,
Yeah.
the futures market may not be for everybody. It's not. You can go
Correct.
in and trade the Nasdaq and get torn up. You know,
Beat up. You can
man, I'm
get beat
telling you,
up.
I've gotten beat up before. And I was like, you know what? Not today, NQ. I'm going to trade the ES.
Yeah, exactly.
But
But that's the
I love the futures market.
and that's the beauty behind trading. At the end of the day, what is making you income faster and taking up less of your time and your energy, right? That's the whole beauty behind it. Like if you feel comfortable, you want to because some people will say, hey, I'm already trading options, right? We get students. Okay, are you doing very well? Yes. Are you happy? Yes. Then just stick with that,
Right.
right? But then, like, okay, now if you want to be much more diverse and know everything, yeah, do everything because now you get the choice days to pick because some days NQ could be acting stupid or nasty, things of that nature. Now, okay, I'm gonna do options this week, right? So the options a little bit funky and the spreads are crazy. Okay, I'm gonna do the underlying stock. So it allows you to have more diversification. But whatever is working for you, because the goal is, like I like to tell people, you don't want to be in the market as long as you don't have to. If
Exactly.
you're pulling that money out, boom, 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 you just scooping it out and walk away, right? And just set that plan and that's it. So that's great. That's great, especially since you see the levels and that it works. And a lot of people, and I'm glad you trade futures because not too many people, you don't see hardly people talking about futures, right?
And I love it. It's gonna be my bread and butter.
Yeah.
I'm just putting
And
it out there. Like
yeah,
I love it.
that's one of the best markets for people to expound upon, like, because now it's like, you they'll just have to figure it out. It's hard to explain now. So
Yeah.
what do you look forward to in the future as we wrap up? What do you look forward to in the future in your trading, things of that nature?
I plan to be free, Ernest.
Mm.
Free.
And what's freedom to you? What's freedom to you?
Freedom to me is waking up at 11 o'clock if I want to, you
Mm.
know, calling my husband, hey, let's take a trip to Greece in the middle of the week. You know,
Mm.
I've always had, I guess it's in my personality that, you know, I didn't always want to work for somebody else. And so that's why I've always had at least 3 or 4 minimum income streams, 3 or 4
Mhm.
jobs. I've always worked overtime, extra hard here, there, a lot in my basket because my goal, and especially now since I have children, I've always said I want to be a stay-at-home mommy, but I want to be a stay-at-home rich mommy. It's a difference. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's actually my goal in life is
Yeah.
to stay home with my children as much as I can, but still make money. And I know that with trading, that keeps me motivated. Like even when I think I told you last week, my trading had been kind of funky,
Mhm.
and I had been kind of losing. I was doing well with my futures trading. Then,
Mhm.
a lot of stuff was going on up here, and I
Up
shouldn't
here.
have been trading. And I
Mhm.
traded anyway, and I was
Yeah.
losing. And I will tell you this, just as a testimony. I'm gonna tell everybody this. I was in that combine. I was doing that combine,
Yeah.
and I was trading so crazy that I lost. I had to reset my combine.
That happens. You're not the
I
only
had to
one.
reset it, and so I stopped trading. I stopped trading everything, futures, forex. Although I was just paper trading the forex at the time, I stopped everything,
Mhm.
and I just chilled out for a week, I didn't do anything. I didn't trade. I slept. I started back taking my vitamins. Reading a little bit more leisurely. Just relaxing, spending time with myself, doing things for myself. And I had to get my mind right because I know I had the skill.
Yeah, you got it.
The mind is very powerful. It can
Yeah.
mess you up. And so I had to reset my combine. I was posting gains and I was
Yeah.
almost there. I was
Yeah.
literally like $400 away,
Yeah.
from the next step. And it was like, man, I lost all that money. Like I shouldn't have been trading. I should not have.
Yeah.
And so I didn't start back until, was it Friday? Like last week, Friday. So I had to start from scratch with my combine.
Yeah.
And I reached my goal today.
Congratulations. See, there you go.
So it took me, I'm telling you,
Congratulations.
months, because I started at the beginning of January. It's like 2 months. And I sat up there and reached my goal in 6 trading days.
Yeah.
When I got my mind right. It
But
had nothing to do with my skill.
Yeah, that was very mature of you. That was very, very mature of you. That's how you know you're gonna be a successful trader. That was very mature of you to actually be able to stop. Because sometimes that's the most difficult thing, is just to realize your head is not in the game. And I struggle with that too sometimes. I struggle with that. So because sometimes, like you said, you know what you know, but you had to do a reset. You had to do a reset.
And the discipline portion of it, like it's
Yeah.
hard. Like even as an adult, it's easy to discipline someone else, but when it comes to disciplining yourself and writing out rules, I'm going to follow these rules to a T.
Yep.
If I don't follow these rules, this is what's going to happen to me. So the discipline portion is something that I really, really had to work on. And in the futures market, okay, if I lose 300, I'm done.
Yeah, you gotta stop.
I'm
You
done.
gotta stop. You gotta stop.
Yeah, and I didn't. I all that went out the window. When you're not here mentally, or you're very emotional, your trading plan sometimes goes out of the window, and that's what happened. It's like you forget everything, all your rules, and it messes you up. And so when I was ready to get back into trading, I typed out my rules. I printed them out. Every time I traded, I put them beside me. Hey, this is it. If I lose $300, dude, I'm done for the day. Period. If my goal is to make like 300 to 500 a day in the futures market in that combine, but sometimes I make more, a lot more.
Yeah.
But, I have to stop. You've made way more than you planned to make, so you stop.
Correct. Correct.
That's the hard part. The hard part is not learning. The hard part is not technicals. It's not learning the candlesticks. That is not the hard part. The hard part is disciplining yourself, getting a hold of your emotions, knowing when to trade and when not to trade. And that's it's gonna be different for everybody. Some people it comes easy. It didn't come as easy for me, but I feel like now I'm at a place where I can follow my rules, shut down my computer, whatever you need to do, go watch your Netflix. Then you made your $300, go watch Netflix.
Exactly.
So that to me is the most difficult part, but I do see myself continuing this journey, becoming better and better and better in my trading journey, and eventually it'll come full circle, and I'll probably be trading all markets again, because I get bored.
Yeah,
I like something
exactly.
different. Like you said, futures may be ranging or just looking kind of crazy. I may decide, let me go look at the pound yen and see what it's doing. It may be moving, quite well.
Exactly, yeah.
I may decide to, trade Forex that day. And another thing that I didn't mention especially about the futures and Forex markets, it's because it's not just between what time is the market open? 8:30 my time to 3 o'clock. Most people are working if you work during the day. So if you're a night owl, you like to stay up, or
Yeah.
work during the day. Futures and forex is perfect because it's not 24/7, like
23
23.
hours, 6 days a week. Yeah.
Right. Like I sat up here, I made like $400 one night. It's like 7 o'clock at night before I went to work. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, if you catch the right move,
You catch the right move.
it's very flexible. So it's something for everybody. But yeah, if you overcome yourself, overcome your negative thoughts, your negative emotions, and you treat it as if your life is dependent on it. Your finances are dependent on it. It's just like a degree in school. If you don't do your work, you don't graduate. You don't turn your
Exactly.
paper in, you don't pass your test, you're gonna fail. And so I feel the same way. I approach it as if I'm in school, and if I don't get this right, I'm gonna fail. So I need to get my mind right, become more disciplined, and I'll be just fine. But I do plan eventually on fulfilling my dream of becoming
No.
a stay-at-home mommy.
No, you will. You definitely will. And the one thing I just want to commend you, because the stuff that you're saying, you're already self-coaching yourself. And that's what traders have to do. Like when you stopped and you wrote out your rules and you put them next to you, everything that you saying, then one thing you said that it didn't come easy to you. I think you're right at the right level, because we get students that have been trading 10, 15 years that are still struggling mentally because they realize something's not right, but you know how to stop. Like we get people that I've been trading 15 years, but I've never been consistent. And one of the hardest things to do is to be successful outside of trading with a job, a career, and a household, but you're conscious of how you got to make trading real.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you end up stopping or realizing, hey, in order for me to make this work, for me to get this freedom, I have to do this. I have to do that. So it's almost like it always compares stuff like fitness and things of that nature. If somebody is in a major situation and they need to shed pounds, and you have to do this,
Right.
you have to do that, right? And it's not always going to last forever, right?
Exactly.
It only takes like, you know, even when I'm like with my trainers, like, hey, we need you to cut carbs for at least 3 months. Like, I'm like, oh God, like it's not the rest of your life,
Right.
but in order to get results you want, you have to give up something,
Yeah.
right? And
You
if
have
you
to do what
notice
you
that,
need to do
you
to do
need
what
to
you want.
do that,
Right.
right? And I think a lot of people don't realize when you're trading or doing like that, it's stuff that you need to do, right? That's not going to ruin your life, but in order for you to get somewhere, which definitely shows that you're going to get what you want out of trading. So listen, we thank you so much for giving me your time, you know, and telling us about your story. Any closing words you want to say before we wrap up?
Um, Sign up for the profit room. But no, seriously. If it's something that you really want to do, don't play with it.
Mhm.
Uh, approach it as if this is like a school thing, educational thing. So you want to make sure that you're serious about it before you pay your money, or else it'll just be money out of the window. Have your goals set for yourself prior to, you know, short-term goals, long-term goals. Make sure you're mentally prepared to take on something as new as trading, and because it's like learning Chinese. It's a different language for people who
Definitely.
hadn't seen it before. And that was the issue with me. Like initially, I wanted to just wish I could just learn it real quick, and it's a process. Now we do have some anomalies. We have some people who, they as soon as they're out of class, they're banking, making big bucks, but you can't look at them. You have to follow your own path. You have to take your own journey, focus on yourself. That's one piece of advice I would give people. Don't worry about what the next student is doing or the next trader is doing. You need to focus on you. What's best for you? Which market is best for you? How much capital can I afford to lose? They may be trading with $100,000, and $100,000 may be chump change to them.
Exactly.
You're not even making that in a year. So don't. That would be my piece of advice. Don't focus on other people. You have to focus on you and your journey. But approach it as if you would approach any other type of education or schooling. Be serious about it. Take out time every day to study, even if it's not, the videos. Make sure you're looking at some type of market, some type of chart. And I'm not where I want to be as a trader, but I feel like since I've worked on some things, that I am headed in that direction.
You're never gonna feel like you're gonna be where you want to be.
Really?
You're never gonna. Everybody, I talk to the students all the time. Oh, I'm doing well. I'm doing this, but I feel I need this. I feel I need that. And every trader I meet always feels like I need to replace my income. I need to replace my income. Then I'm like, okay, but you're the time over the money, right? The time you're making the money versus the time you're spending at your job. Like there's always going to be, but that's a part of the psychological thing, right? That's the same thing where it's this, I always relay everything to fitness because I'm into that. You could be in the best shape, but you're still going to find something wrong with you. But you'll look at a picture of you 5 years ago where you were bad on yourself, but you like, I looked great back then.
I do that all the time.
You see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm comparing. You're never going to be like that until you're conscious of it, because like, you know what, I was doing pretty well, but you can't. That's another thing to write, that you're never going to be satisfied with your trading. At some, like, once you start knocking bills out, that's why it's always better to be systematic with things, right? So it become real to you, but you're always going to look, because you're a student, you're always going to look for more, and more. And I hear that all all the time. So
But that can be a
don't
good
worry.
thing because it keeps you motivated. It keeps you
it,
wanting to
it keeps you
learn more.
motivated. You don't want to slack, but it's something that's very common. No, no matter what. Like, look at the Super Bowl people. I got 4 Super Bowl rings. I need 5, right?
Right.
It's like some people don't even make it out of the league without a ring, but they only got 4 rings I needed to complete. So that's one of those syndromes that you're going to have, but always remember that in the back of your mind, but you'll do good with that.
Absolutely.
So Tricy, we want to say thank you so much. Once again, like I said, everyone who's watching, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and also subscribe button. And if you want to learn more information about what we do, you always could come over to the profitroom.com. But at the end of the day, guys, just get educated. We're trying to teach you how to learn how to trade and invest in the different markets. Very, very important, because you just want to be really conscious of what's really going on in the economy, also the global economy, because that helps you make the right financial decisions on your own for you and your family. And at the same time, we just want to be like in the know, right? All this information out here can really change your lives of family members and everybody. And we're here to help you at the Profit Room. So you guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.